You are watching the Fayetteville Government Channel. Up next, full coverage of the latest meeting of the Environmental Action Committee. The Environmental Action Committee is composed of citizen volunteers and meets on the second Thursday of each month. The committee advises the City Council regarding environmental issues facing the City of Fayetteville and its residents. And now, the Environmental Action Committee.
I will go ahead and get us started today, and thank you for coming. My name is Sarah Lewis. I'm the chair of the Environmental Action Committee. I'm also one of the Ward 4 City Council members, and so I think we'll go around and introduce ourselves. We do have a new person here, and I'm so glad. And so, Richard, will you start us off in introducing yourself? And also, since we do have new folks, members, and also new folks in the room, tell just a tidbit about yourself. And
hi, I'm Richard Russell, local. I've lived around here for a long time, and recently got a geology degree and got involved in the committee kind of as a scientist, I suppose. Mm-hmm. But really the baseline is I'm really interested in this place and taking good care of it.
Okay. That's a good reason. Cindy.
Cindy Cope. I chair the Fayetteville in Bloom program, and I do a lot of volunteer work around the community. Fayetteville in Bloom is not about just flowers, but environmental awareness, urban forestry. I do a lot of work with the school children and very involved with the Habitat program.
Excellent. I'll let you go ahead.
Okay. I'm Terry Lane, and grew up in Fayetteville, so I've been around here a long time, and environmental science and education is my background, and on the committee I am the project leader for the Community Wildlife Habitat Project, and work with Cindy with the schools on that a lot, and that's it.
I'm Meredith Lewis. I come from an environmental science background as well. I've been on the committee now for I think about 3 months, and recently moved to Fayetteville, so I am not a native.
My name's Lori Yazwensky. I'm an architect, and I guess my interest in the committee is I'm also a LEED accredited professional, so I'm interested in sustainable building. And I've done some work with landscape projects in the past and really enjoy it. And I've lived in Fayetteville my whole life, so I take a lot of interest in where it is now and where it goes in the future.
Super. Would you like to introduce?
Sure. My name's Dan Dean, and I'm here primarily as just an interested citizen, but I'm also working through the AmeriCorps Energy Corps program at the city. Under John for the next couple of days at least. So.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming to the meeting. It's great. Glad to have you. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Connie Christ. Trying to
We're
thaw
glad you're
out
here.
a little bit.
Yeah.
And I work for Fayetteville School District, and I'm trying to have as many partnerships and projects with the city of Fayetteville as we can get.
Well, and we do the green team.
And we do the green
teams.
team, and we have lots of, it's a wonderful partnership.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Good. And Aubrey, you're just in time.
Trying to sneak in.
There's no sneaking around here. We're open and transparent. Would you introduce yourself?
Aubrey Shepherd. This is the council neighborhood, so I don't say town rich neighborhood.
You can. And just maybe one reason why you're on EAC, or what?
Because I'm a rabid environmentalist.
Oh, I love it. And so I'll just add that I also have a background in environmental science, and certainly I'm interested in environmental topics, but also how to work with the programs and systems, and how to work with different stakeholders, and how to move things forward and make progress in different areas, and helping people understand the connections between environmental science, economics, and the social welfare of the community. I think those are all highly integrated, so how do we do that? And then John.
John Coleman, Sustainability Director for the City of Fayetteville for one more day.
I heard that.
Position.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Booing that I'm leaving, not me. So, the position is posted, so and we're already getting a lot of really good applicants. I think there's going to be a lot of strong interest locally and around the country, so very exciting. I've actually have been going back and looking at the 2011 videos of the meetings this year, and because we're going to put tonight's agenda.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting that when we go around the room, not just you, Sarah, but Angie, she chaired 2 of the meetings. Every time you start, you ask the person sitting right there.
I do.
And Angie did the same thing. I mean, I just found it fascinating. You skip past the person. Normally, when you're in a meeting and you do that, you just go to the person on your left and you go around the room. But you and Angie both go to this seat right here.
So there's the hot seat.
So if you want to be called on first.
That's funny.
And also,
Were there any other strange patterns, like do people sit in the same places? I just say you always sit right there.
Terry usually sits over there, but I didn't pick up any other strange patterns except for I was always sitting right in front of the camera for some reason.
You are.
So the back of my head, so like tonight, I'm going and sitting in the
I
front.
noticed you changed actually. It sort of threw me off because it sort of threw me off because I'm used to you sitting about right there. Oh.
So.
Well, that's neat that you looked at all those.
Yeah.
He doesn't have anything to do the last 2 days.
Yeah.
That's a short time.
I didn't watch. I should clarify. I did not watch
I just
the
see
entire.
with popcorn.
It's a nice little soundtrack that goes along with this meeting too on Channel 16. But I actually watched the first 5 minutes of every meeting to pick up the agendas because I didn't take good enough notes or keep my notes before you. So.
Well, thank you for doing that. That will really help.
So, I'm going to work for I'm going to work for a green building consulting firm, Viridian, opening their Fayetteville office here. So I'll be working on the high school project and a couple of university projects, and then hopefully a couple of other projects that are in the works. So.
Where will your office physically be?
Monday, I'm hoping to determine that. It'll be somewhere downtown, but I haven't identified a location yet. But Viridian, they're based out of Little Rock, and they've been growing quite a bit in just the last few years. Really good company, so I'm excited about it. But I do think that I mentioned there's a lot of strong interest in my position, and I think that applicant pool is going to be really deep. So the city will be in good hands. And Don Marr is leading up that interview process, and that's what he does for a living. So he's very skilled at that as well. So I'm very confident in what's going to happen with the city once I'm done. But it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well.
How long have you been?
4.5 years.
And are you the first?
Started in 2007. Started out focused on energy, primarily in municipal buildings, and kind of evolved through now more focused on grant writing and bigger policy projects across departments like the solid waste and recycling management plan, energy codes, and some of those things. So it's a really
the first in the state, correct?
First one in the state.
What is what other at this point? What other communities? Do you know?
In Arkansas, North Little Rock has one, and Little Rock has
like a committee.
They have a committee, and then they have an Energy Corps program, and there's more interest kind of developing there. But yeah, I think they're coming around to that as well. It's grown significantly in popularity. I mean, when I first started in 2007, there were only a handful of cities around the country that had them, mostly larger cities, and now they're everywhere across the country. So, as normal, Fayetteville was kind of on the front end of that. So, and I also have some certificates for the new members. I left them on my desk, so I'm going to go get those.
Okay.
I'm not just.
And you're out.
I'll be right back.
Well, while you do that, I would like for Dina. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks. And sorry I'm a few minutes late. I was just coming from Owl Creek School.
we have a cooking and gardening club over there, and just wrapping that up. So, I'm Dana Smith, and I'm the sustainability coordinator for Fayetteville School District. Serving my first year officially with that title. I previously was the Energy Corps member for the school district and did that for 11 months. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're involved in that.
Sandine's Energy Corps.
I actually know too.
You are too,
Yeah,
okay.
you sent me that email. I didn't even see it until after the meeting, but it was like 2 days before I'd
Okay.
gotten the position.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Yeah, thank
Well,
you
yeah,
very
that's a
much.
great program. Well, congratulations to you on your new position in the public schools. Well, I'm glad to know that we have, I think it's important that we have multiple interactions between the city and the public school system. That needs to be, I think, so much more integrated. So, glad to have you. Thanks for applying and your interest. And Lori, thank you for coming. So, glad to have you. And today, anything else on introductions or questions for each other? Okay. Well, I'm excited about our upcoming year. I'd like to touch on what we've done. I think 2011 was a very successful year for this group. Big things that you all accomplished, that we all accomplished together. And I want to review those. And then we'll brainstorm ideas that may or may not connect to those, and like maybe we grow those or expand on those, or maybe we have some new ideas that we want to lead into. And then and I went ahead and put thank you, John, up there, and I did bring a card for him. So if you have not signed it or would like to, and even if you're brand new and you'd like to tell him thank you for his service to the city, but also to this committee. He really has helped us stay connected to what's going on related to the interests of this committee and when we should contribute ideas, who to connect with if we have an idea or an opinion, or if it helps to endorse something, if it helps mostly just to contact the council. So especially informing me and then helping me communicate with you. So that we want to make sure and get. So I have taken some notes on what we achieved this year, and so I'm gonna go through them, and then you want to fill in the blanks. Sure. Okay. Well, you worked so hard on reviewing those.
It really wasn't. It
Okay.
wasn't that hard work. So.
Okay, so I'll go through them, and then I may have missed something. And then same with everybody else. If there's something, I tried to hit the highlights based on some of the agendas I found, and so correct me if I've missed something. The big thing that this team worked for months to help develop, and all through 2010 and then into 2011 was the Streamside Protection Ordinance. This group helped create a packet that could help inform the staff, and then as a group endorsed the effort to pursue a Streamside Protection Ordinance, and then advocated for it throughout the city council meetings. And it went to the council in 2011, spring of 2011, and for months was in that process. And it was a big success, and the council was supportive of it, overwhelmingly supportive of it. And a lot of that has to do with the hard work that went in by the staff and by you all in that process. So that was a big achievement for this organization and for this community and for this state. And again, that's the first one in this, not just the state, but in the region. And so it's an important effort already. With the kind of uptick of some of the developments, we're seeing that that's being taken into consideration. So they're designing, as an architect, they're designing those projects with that in mind. So they look at the landscape and they say, okay, we can design something in this space. And it's really exciting to see that as a council member, hearing them come and say, and a lot of times it's not developable land anyway. So it helps in the planning. They know that ahead of time. They know that's what's expected. They just start planning with that in mind. And so it makes things a lot smoother. There's less fighting as far as like, oh, the conflict with the neighborhoods or, that kind of thing. So that people know ahead of time what the expectations are, and so good job on that. Also, we learned, we had the recycling resolution that you all helped to draft, and I think it was Louise and James that specifically helped draft the language with John. And what that did, they worked with Brian Pugh, and they helped, what that did was request the staff post the ongoing market and buyers and what the rate for the commodities are, with the materials that we sell, so that it's open and transparent. So that's available on the website. And it also encourages us to know that someone is actually recycling the material we sell, and it's not just for show. You know, it's not just to be able to say that they do that. So saying that we understand the life cycle of the things we're throwing away, which is pretty high, it's pretty, I don't know, advanced as far as trying to understand that. Then the Wildlife Habitat Project has taken off in 2011, and Terry has just been a huge champion of that, and they had a speaker series, and of course they got more and more points towards certification. And I think that there's something she's going to do here in just a little bit, and they have a little bit more.
Very few.
Okay.
So
we'll come back to that.
I'm working hard.
No, you are. You are.
Also related to the recycling, go back to the recycling, we've had regular updates from Brian about what the market is and what projects are, and then also about the planning for the West Side Recycling Center and the project. We also have provided input into the drainage criteria manual that is almost done. Is that right?
There's the draft that came out in mid-December, and it's in the review, but it was that first draft. I can't remember off the top of my head like what the timeline is, but
okay.
I believe staff provided input, and then there was Chris Brown had sent it out to a lot of the engineering firms, architecture firms that had been involved in that initial stakeholder process.
Mm-hmm.
How can we get a copy of that?
We just have Chris send it out. It's a very technical document. I think that's why when they were originally kind of looking at the public input piece, it was you know, trying to target people that were going to be using it, like design professionals. But they certainly he shared it pretty well.
Yeah, if you can send it to me, and then I'll.
Okay.
What is it? What are you talking about?
The drainage criteria manual. So yeah, that's what like a developer would give to his or her engineers in developing.
No, that's not finished though.
They're in the review,
They're in the
right, it's not
review,
finalized
right.
yet, so
Okay.
this would be a good time to continue to provide input on that. Also, you all, which this is kind of something that I would like to follow up on, you all brainstormed council tour ideas. We didn't really act on because there were some council tours already scheduled at the time, so that may be something we might come back to.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, educational tours for the city council members. Also, we have contributed input into the resource management plan that John has been heading up, and he gave a presentation on that, and like the drainage criteria manual, that is ongoing.
Mm-hmm.
And are you going to kind of keep an eye on that?
Yeah, so
Okay.
Just a quick update. We had our internal review last week. We're waiting on the mayor's reviewing it right now, and we're waiting on his input, and then we'll put it out for public review for a couple of weeks.
Okay.
And then it'll come through the council process.
So
when it comes out for public review,
Yeah.
we'll have it sent to EAC
Yeah.
as well.
let's do that. Okay, and then pretty recently actually participated in contributing ideas to the low impact development project that developer is going to do out here along 540, and then also spoke up about tree preservation, which is a topic that's on the upcoming agenda for the city council. There's another development that's in the tree preservation area, so I would like to point that out to you, that is something you might find interesting. And so it's on the current agenda, and you may want to come and speak up. And then, hi. Hello.
Hi there.
Hey, are you here for Partners for Better Housing?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we're happy to talk with you about environmental topics.
Is it all right if we just sit here and wait?
It's
Well,
in,
I think that it's in
3:26.
3:26.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Our paperwork says that.
But you're cool enough to hang with
Yeah,
us.
you can hang.
Sorry, that's all right.
And so those are some of the things. I think there were other things, but those are big accomplishments that you all have participated in. Some of them legislative, some of them more giving ideas, some of them more project oriented and community focused. And so, thank you very much. And what other things did you catch?
I think you pretty much summed it up. I think I did want to just emphasize how the EAC's evolved since I got here. When I first got here, there was, it was pretty much every month you would have a speaker come in, share a topic, and then leave, and that was kind of the extent of it. But there's really, we do that, and I think that's really valuable. But then there's also the project piece, where you get really involved in that. There's the policy stuff like the streamside protection, the advocacy when items come to council. So I really think the group has kind of diversified its participation, and so that's really encouraging. And that's what I saw throughout as I was kind of looking at the agendas. Brian Pugh, the recycling coordinator, came and spoke a couple of times, and just providing input on that through the resolution, and he uses that all the time. EAC has this resolution that really requires us to be transparent in how we report, and so it's a very public topic that he brings forward. So yeah, that was the only thing I was going to add. I think everything
Thank
else
you
was pretty
for
much
pointing that out. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's just I think just the involvement and the willingness to participate in a variety of activities is really important, and it's something that you encourage from the beginning. So that's really good. I do want to hand out real quick before we have these certificates. I'm going to pass it.
Okay, Aubrey.
Of the Pinnacle Food.
Oh my gosh,
That we,
huge. Yes, it wasn't in the
Mayor.
meetings, so yes.
Well, the whole
No,
thing's
that's huge.
recorded in 3 segments and on YouTube for everybody who didn't get to go that day.
Absolutely. Will you tell a little bit about that? That is. Yeah. So Aubrey initiated a project in, I guess, just south of Martin Luther King Boulevard, and so that's a big deal too. That we may want to consider continuing.
But to Pinnacle Food today, we went with the mayor, and he and Mr. Russell attended, Sarah and you and anybody else get.
I think Amy came.
Yeah. I think so. So we had a nice representation and presented Pinnacle Food an award honoring, thanking them for their service to the city in so many ways, providing many jobs and a great deal of support for our economy. But in essence, it was because Pinnacle Food had, over the last 4 or 5 years, actually 6 years now, part of its property has been left for wildlife. They've got wonderful prairie land. And just in the last 2 years, they've reduced their mowing from 3 times during the growing season to 1 time during the growing season. And we're hoping that they may reduce it to only mowing outside the growing season, which will allow the native plants even more time to mature, go to seed, the birds to eat the caterpillars that don't survive and hatch, and do everything that the natural world does to provide for whole food chain. And mowing in the summer, or any time between, in this part of the country, if you mow between April 1st and December 1st, basically you're destroying a lot of seed material, insect material, and other things that birds and other wildlife need. So they're working with us on that. And it's sort of a showpiece, I hope, that they got recognized for that, that other industries around town who have these massive pieces of land that they mow near their factories and their businesses. And just as with our natural yard work, we're trying to involve people with larger tracts of land in doing this. And just yesterday, I had occasion to be over north of your neighborhood and got photos and video of the highway department working on widening of crossover road, and they had, the reason I happened to notice it was this big plume of smoke, and so you may have seen yesterday and in recent days, I'm sure it's been going on. They're burning the trees they take down on site, and of course they have to put gasoline or something if there's something more explosive they use, because that stuff just blows up. And yesterday it was the ones they were burning when I happened to be over there or went there because I saw smoke. I go to smoke. I'm worried about it could be a neighbor's house. If I smell smoke, I want to be sure where it's coming from in my neighborhood, but this was going. And they were burning the cedar trees. There were lots of cedars along the east side of that. And of course, they had to put in sewer lines and water lines while they're working, and probably a big sidewalk and a lot of things like that. And they're taking some property from people to do it, which I'm sure they're reimbursed for, but not what they'd expected when it got to be a 3-lane road as it is. It'll be
I'll talk with David and see if we can get them to maybe, it's not the city, that's the thing.
Oh, yes, it's the highway department.
It's the highway department, but they're working together, so maybe we can see if they'll maybe at least mulch that.
They
should mulch it or something other than. Are you here for the Environmental Action Committee meeting? The Better Home, Partners for Better Housing is in 326. But you're welcome to stay with us. We'd love to have you.
Sarah, that reminded me of another thing, was the local foods map. We didn't talk about that.
Of course, yes.
Susan's
And
project.
the local foods map was one thing I wanted to recommend something on for 2012 as well. So thank you for bringing that up, because it's to a point where we may be able to kind of do a resolution for endorsing that, or something where this group could take the next step. It's to a point where they've got an example we could show the council. So Susan, thank you for all your hard work in leading that. And what that group did was they really brought together the key stakeholders who were interested in that topic, and then those people have run with it. And this group is like initiated, it was an incubator here, and then Susan connected with the right people and they've run with it, which is really was the vision originally. But this group can then endorse that from a Fayetteville perspective here. So, well, anything else as far as like 2011 and things that we missed?
On the wildlife habitat, and you may have mentioned this, and now we take that on as one of our projects. Didn't that happen, that now that becomes one of the environmental action?
That was a resolution, right? That was a resolution,
okay.
Absolutely. So they had the project, and absolutely, that was a policy level thing, which happened just recently.
Right.
The city of Fayetteville, so the city council voted to say this organization, EAC, which is really recent. What was it?
That was not very long
That was
ago.
either that was in December. Okay.
Yeah.
So in December, the council said, yes, the EAC will take this on as the owner of that project.
Right.
And in order to get certified, for Fayetteville to get certified to do that, to have a community habitat certification, there had to be an organization that would take this on for perpetuity, essentially. And it's not as hard to maintain that certification as it is to get it. And one thing that was added to the resolution that happened after the meeting was Bobby Farrell asked that there be added with city council approval. So what that means is if this group says we should do a trail hike, educational tour for the city council members and the public. Well, what we could do is we would request that the city council that they would approve that. I supported that because I think that's an awesome way to teach and communicate with the city council
yeah.
and make sure they're in on and know about what we're doing regarding that project. So it'll slow things down a bit, but you know,
They know.
now that way they'll know exactly what the projects are. They'll hear about these topics. It'll give us a chance to get up there and say, well, the benefits of this are riparian zone, habitat, you know, all the language. So it gets you a chance to say that stuff out loud more, which is the point of the entire Wildlife Federation initiative, is to teach. So it gives you the tools with which to teach. So yeah, thanks for specifying that. That's true. It went from the project to a policy level. Terry, I think she had a call that came in. So one thing I would like to group some things, and I'm wondering if John, you kind of inspired this. It sounds like there are, like you said, there's learning, there's policy, there's projects, and then there's an opportunity for maybe recognition. And maybe the recognition would fall under projects. I kind of like things in threes. But I'm wondering if you would like to, I don't know why that is, but I was wondering if you would like to, maybe the threes is do, like John, you outlined it, is have our initiatives kind of grouped. Like we do learning, we do policy focus, and we do projects that educate or recognize. And it would help us kind of focus our attention, like for, you know, we do a little bit of each, and then throughout the year when we think about what we want to do for 2012, what do we want to learn about, what policy do we want to attack, and what projects do we want to either continue, or who do we want to give recognition to. You like that? I think we should expand on that. So, welcome. Would you like to introduce yourself? You can come up here.
Sit by operating.
I think Richard ran out as well.
We can move down. Why don't you come up here?
No, it's. So this is Angie.
Hi.
Angie, would you like to tell why you're on EAC?
I'm a member of this committee as a citizen at large, and I think I represent the average person who cares a lot about our natural environment, our natural heritage here in the city, but I'm not the scientist. I work in other fields, but I care very much about the quality of life in Fayetteville, so that is why I'm here.
Thank you. I'm glad you came. Thanks. All right, so we kind of went through what we were doing, what we did, all the great achievements in 2011. And John, this, you know, the genius that he is, came out outlined like you.
I'm gonna save this video.
You can show it to all those future clients that you have. So he sat through all of our meetings from 2011 in video, and he noticed that there were things that we learned about, there's policy focus, and there were projects that we did. And I thought, why don't we frame it that way? So for 2012. So I guess my question now is, what would you like to put under here? What would you like to learn more about? That then could feed into all these other things. What kind of policy, what are there policy issues we want to address? I mean, I have some ideas that I'll share with you, but you may have some topics we want to explore. And then are there projects? And I would say we want to continue the habitat project. And we probably want to continue the recycle. Is that learning? Where's our recycling fit? When Brian Pugh comes?
I think that's the learning.
Learning.
Where you have
And it affects policy.
Recycling update. So it could affect policy. Are we going to?
Well, under policy, one of the things that I had emailed Sarah was maybe tweaking the ordinance for Streamside just a bit. and I'll pass this around. This is from a county in Florida. And what they do is they require landscapers to take an online test about pesticide or fertilizer.
Okay, so it seems like it goes beyond just the stream side protection.
Well, probably policy, but just
So let's say,
tweaking it
let's
a
just
bit.
say in general, landscaper certification.
I took the,
I'm just gonna call it that.
okay, I mean,
We can explore where it best fits.
I copied some stuff from the stream side protection best practices. And there's some general information, but this would be a little bit more specific.
So this would be in the VMP manual.
Right.
Okay. Cool. All right.
In terms of learning, are there things that have just been happening recently, let's say in terms of ordinances, or even crises, or some other kind of thing happening in the city that we could be doing the learning about?
One thing that, well, we just talked about the drainage, I'm just throwing these out. Drainage criteria manual, and the resource management project. Do we want to learn more about where those are, or we were going to review them as they come into their draft? So is that in learning, if we review those documents, or is that in project? Policy.
I'm thinking a little more about the educating the community about those things coming, and the you know, new things that are happening that we need to be telling everybody about.
One thing that I think,
Like the watershed luncheon thing, but related to something very recent.
We talked about, we hinted at this, not, well, I don't know, months ago, but we could use the public access television. This group could use public access television to tell about those types of things. That seems like a project that we would get coordinated around and go teach people about that.
I think even if like everybody in the group has a Facebook account, just went out and said, this is out there. I mean, you're reaching that many people all at once, and a lot of our networks kind of intertwine, so you would see it multiple times.
That seems like a general thing that we could do more of, just in general, rather than, because we did the watershed luncheon series, which was a lot of outreach. That's a good idea. So we could do
Really simple things, but then also the
Facebook, Twitter, and public access TV short takes. Or email your friends. And that could be, we could then focus on that and then decide, like, figure out what topics do we need and what is the sound bite that we're putting out there. So, hey, I don't know if you heard this part, but we're thinking we could divide our focus into three. John helped us figure that out. Divide those into three buckets. Things we learn, things we relate to policy. One thing I'm interested in focusing on in policy is helping to push forward stormwater utility. Just a big project. I don't know where it would get to in 2012, but I'd like us to push on that a little. And like I said, right, it's to a point. So apparently, Hot Springs was sued as a result of theirs. So there's been somebody that stepped out there and tried something, and we can learn from what they've done. And there's a draft of, there's some work that's already been done and kind of was put on hold. So we could request that we could kind of learn about that.
And it's absolutely related to the other things we've been doing, too.
Yeah.
Can I ask a semantical clarification? How are you using the word utility?
Stormwater utility is
How are we using stormwater, or?
Okay, a stormwater utility would be like we have a water utility and a sewer utility, so it'd be a department. So, and it would establish funding that would help us manage our stormwater and drainage better. And so you'd have people that could go out and manage rain gardens, or we could help pay for a lot of our drainage issues that our town build systems that are causing flooding, and we can't address them right now. We just can't. People are flooding, and there's been all this development, and they haven't planned it in such a way that it addresses the water, and so now we need to deal with that, and we needed a better way to do it than what we have right now.
So we
don't have the people.
We have rights of way that are dedicated to stormwater, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who manages those?
They're not designated right-of-ways like the streams throughout the community. In some cities, the communities have those as right-of-ways, and the city government manages those. In Fayetteville, that's not the case.
Nobody owns the storm lines?
Well, you have the storm sewer pipes and those things the city does in those instances, but then once it's on ground, like in a stream or something like that, it's just up to each individual landowner to manage those areas. So it varies.
Your infrastructure, there would have to be a call on that right away.
So that's why it's important for us to learn what are all our options, what's already in place, what are other communities doing. This group, I see us being, we learn and we collect information and we provide that to staff. And if you're interested, if we learn and you are like, no way, there's a better way to do this, that's totally okay. But I think this group could be the body that says, this is how we understand it and this is what we recommend.
Just
as a citizen group.
For point of clarification for me, just thinking about stormwater, does our stormwater and our wastewater run through the same infrastructure?
That's a great question. We are an MSF4, which means separate.
They are separate.
Mm-hmm. We have leaks, but not as many as some towns, they say.
It's a big difference.
It's a big difference. Like other communities are, you don't see, right, you should never see greeny, gooey, greeny, slimy stuff running down the street. And if you do, you should call the city.
What about rusty brown, shiny?
Yeah.
I think there's something specific behind that.
No, call the city about that too. Okay. Sometimes we have a lot of iron oxides in the soil, so that is not necessarily always a bad thing, but
coming right out of the back of a building.
Yeah. So look into that. But it is separate, which is very good. The thing that we do, we're getting much better at, and this drainage criteria manual will help with that. In the past, for example, over here at, you know where, well, I love Mojo's. You know where Mojo's is? On the corner of North and Garland, across from Harps. That parking lot, the entire parking lot flows directly into Skull Creek. Like, nothing. I mean, it's a cement sheet flow into Skull Creek. It flows so hard it blows a hole in the bank on the other side. So these are things we don't ever. It's like we need a sign up there that says "Never again." You know, and a stormwater utility would help fund fixing some of those, making those changes, and so, or managing the changes. And so that's what we just don't have. You know, there's just not the funding for it, and not just the funding, the people, the service. So that's something I'm interested in exploring. And like I said, we don't really know where that would go, but this sort of, if you're interested in that, I would certainly advocate that. Would also relate to your interest there, Mullins Creek.
I'm very interested in this.
Yeah, down there, that part that it would help manage that and figure out something to do, hopefully. What other topics? What we have, so one thing that I'm looking at it that you brought up is the local food guide, local food resolution. I spoke with Susan about this. She liked the idea. She was going to talk to the other stakeholders that she's gotten involved and see what they thought. And I asked her, we would only do that if they thought it would be helpful. So if they all think that yes, Environmental Action Committee endorsement, that this is a really good tool for our community, then we recognize that it's valid and useful and helpful. Then, so that's one thing that would be neat to be able to do, that the city council could publicly endorse this local food guide as a tool for tourists or whoever to learn where is the local food, where can you find it? Farmers markets or stores or wherever.
Is there any talk in the community of food policy council?
I don't know. That group may have knowledge of that.
That might be something just thinking
To wanna
policy
learn about?
To learn about.
Okay.
If we're thinking about endorsing something that supports local food.
Okay. Food policy?
Food policy council. Several
Which kind of reminds me of what she helped bring together. Like that's what.
But it's
like
a national network of some kind, isn't it?
Yeah.
There are some networks forming.
Yeah.
They're still relatively new, but basically it's the councils that really focus on policy that promotes local food. So not just a guide that says what is local, but language in our city that would support it.
Yeah, I think that's been a really popular topic. The council idea over the last few months with Feed Fayetteville and some of the other groups that have come together.
That's right.
Councilmember Petty he asked us to look at put together a white paper at the beginning of 2011, a kind of research paper on some of these things. And so,
Oh, that's good.
I would really like to, work on energy codes for the city.
oh, that's a very relevant topic. We just had a meeting on residential energy code today. It was an input session with builders, or it was supposed to be with builders. We didn't have a very good turnout, but we're looking at adopting a more stringent energy code. So that's very relevant. And then the other project that's going to sit idle until we get someone new and kind of figure out where that goes is the commercial energy code piece too. So yeah, that's a very relevant topic. It's something that we've been working on quite a bit in 2011.
So it sounds like we need to learn where things are, about the current, what is it being called? Is it called an energy code? Are we calling it that?
Yeah, so each entity, you have residential code and a commercial code, and they're regulated, or those codes are developed by different national organizations. The residential energy code is for single family and multifamily, 3 stories or less. The commercial code is for large commercial buildings or larger multifamily facilities, taller than 3 stories. And so we didn't get as far on the commercial code as what we would have liked. It's really kind of just very beginning stages. The residential code, we feel like we're really close to a recommendation to the council. So I'm happy to talk to you more about that.
Yeah. So there are separate city codes, because I know the state adopts a code, and then the cities also.
Yeah, the state. So the city is bound to follow the state minimum.
Okay.
But the cities have the authority to be more aggressive.
Okay.
And so that's what we're trying to do with our research right now, is to just determine whether we want to be more aggressive.
Okay, great. Well, I think that's a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, I got one more thing.
Yes, go ahead.
Well, and you've got recycling up there, so if we're going, I just want to make sure that we continue with that as far as education goes. And also, I don't know exactly where this fits. I'm sure I'll learn this, but we talked about, now that they're recycling in apartments, we talked about the building code of which, do we have that where they have to put a recycling facility in an apartment complex?
Now, just in the last few months, we started offering recycling for apartment complexes, and in the design development phase, they're not required to provide facilities for that. And it's kind of a I mean, there are multiple reasons why. The way that we require all of it to be sorted just like curb sort. You know, we can't take it all together, and we need it to be separated. And so when you talk about facilities like, well, we've got several apartment complexes right now, like the Maple Street one, the high-rise or the mid-rise that's going in. For them to structure their parking deck to allow for our trucks to do the type of apartment recycling that we do, it's onerous from a site design standpoint. So we're trying to figure out, that's one of the things that we identified in the resource management plans, that we really need to get serious about what that would look like, whether it needs to be required, whether we somehow bundle properties.
So that several could share.
Right.
Yeah, right, but somewhere in there I'd like to, you know, I know it's hard for the people that already, they don't have the room to put in those recycling areas and so on.
From here on out.
So from here on out, at least do that, then go back and start working on how we can accommodate the
That's
others.
really very relevant.
So that's one thing that I really would like to keep on the table.
Yeah.
too.
And I think business recycling too, I mean, in that
Oh,
way,
yeah.
to keep pushing to all the other areas that we
Yes.
can get to, and now that we're selling the separate glass, I mean, it sounded like the new things we're doing with recycling for the city
Yes.
is gonna make it easier for, like, Dixon Street businesses to recycle too, right? Is that that's what?
It's supposed to, at least for glass, yes. That would be.
Right, and so finding ways to kind of keep pushing that forward.
Well, and we've also got to get that out to those businesses and so on, because so many don't know that. But, and just to jump in there just a little bit more with the recycling, is I'd like to also, I don't know if we can do this or not, but hear from other cities, like you talked about North Little Rock and Little Rock. I know Little Rock is getting into recycling now. And I was just down there, and they recycle 1 through 7. I mean, it all goes in the same bin. Of course, what I want to know is, does it really all go in the, do they really separate all that? What happens to that? Of course.
Maybe that's something like, we could,
You
when
know.
Brian comes, we could ask him if he could tell us
Yes,
about
some of the other places. I'd like to know a little bit more about it, because the residents were pretty proud of that, and of course, I wasn't gonna argue with that point. I just thought, well, where did they find a source to take that?
Yeah.
So, and if
Well,
they
one of
have,
our-
great.
One of our local towns, and I won't mention the name on air, but it goes
Should
to
I
the
go
landfill.
ahead? Well, I know,
Yeah.
and that, I mean, I'm not insinuating that's what Little Rock does or not, but I would like to know what.
But I think the public needs to know.
Yeah, that's what I mean, because the assumption is it's all recycled and goes to all the recycling places, you know. So I'd like to have more input on that.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point.
So a question on the recycling, has there been any movement towards recycling large building products like lumber and copper and things like that? I know typically that's done by a private entity that wants to resell them and distribute them, and it's part of the lead thing, but
So, but building
on a
materials,
city,
yeah, I don't know.
on a city level, there's
Construction.
a lot
We
of
don't do that, do
renovations
we?
and stuff.
No, we don't handle that. We had, in 2008, 2009, we had a consulting firm that did analyze C&D waste and some of these other areas that we're interested in getting into, and the volume isn't enough to warrant like a private sector investment to make it work. That's what they found, and so they went through what the investment would be from the city standpoint and tried to assess what the volume was in the region and that type of thing. But yeah, I think that's something very popular within the lead component. So.
Well, the Habitat for Humanity has a store,
The restore.
but, you know, if
They don't
it's
take the
buildings
scrap,
being
but
torn
not
down.
like scraps.
Right,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take
But
it.
that's
Copper
a good
is
point.
being stolen.
Yes. Copper's being It's being recycled.
Yeah.
But the good side of that is not only is the copper being stolen out of houses, but I watch some guys scraping old wire to get the copper out because they can sell it for more. I see people frequently walking in South Fayetteville from the stream beds where they're dragging parts of automobiles and you name it.
Great.
That can be recycled.
Stream cleanup.
And they're doing it.
They get much
They do
cheaper,
it every
you
so
know.
often. We've done our volunteer things because they want to sell the heavy stuff, so they drag it out of there. Some of them walk. 2 or 3 people carrying these big heavy pieces of metal.
Wow.
And they steal from cemeteries.
Yeah.
She's fallen
One
in
thing-
love with the heavy metal.
Fabulous.
Yeah. Okay, so what we need to look at is we need champions of these things. If we want to do these things, we need somebody that says, where are we on this? Here we are on this. This is what we're doing. Today, put me on the agenda for this. You don't even have to do the work if you just are the champion that says, put this on the agenda. We need to do this. So when you look at this board, and what are you willing to champion? That means maybe you have expertise or you have a network in that area that you can help bring together and help us learn about these topics. Or maybe you are willing to, like on the outreach, are you willing to bring us all together and go, what do we want to teach people about? What do we want to, so we have this thing we learned about, how are we going to Facebook about that? How are we going to email about that? Are you going to be the champion of just that? It's like, you don't have any general you don't have any specific topic, you just, in general, will make sure this group is teaching council members, most importantly, and the community also. And then, maybe, I squeaked that in there. The project down here for reviewing documents for the drainage criteria project and the resource management project. That, I don't know that we need a champion for that, except I can just be the point person for that, to make sure we get that. The recognition thing, Aubrey, are you interested in keeping an eye open for people that need recognition?
Actually, I have been trying to urge some to get on board with this same kind of thing.
So
yes,
just,
I will
you have it documented, and we can just do that, if you're willing to do that. And then Terry, you've got our National Wildlife Federation project. I'm willing to keep the ball more moving on the stormwater utility.
That's what I was gonna say, the stormwater utility is.
Something you care about?
Yep.
Okay. Let me write this.
And for the new people to the
Energy
committee
Code?
too, the stream side protection ordinance, I think that this committee was really helpful in several ways, but one of them is reviewing documents and looking at things as citizens will look at them. Where are gonna be the areas of protest and concern or conflict? How is this wording gonna sound to the people who need to vote on this, city council, things like that. So I think we were really useful in that way.
Yeah, oh, definitely. That packet that you all put together is really influential.
On the stormwater utility, that was gonna be one of my projects in 2012, and so during the interview process, that's gonna be one of
Great.
the points of
Yay,
emphasis
yay.
to make sure
That's
that
good news.
somebody that's hired in that position.
We don't have a recycling champion anymore.
We need a recycling champion for sure. For those of you that are newer on the group, Louise Mann was and still is an advocate, a big advocate for recycling, and she was on the committee and now she's not, so we definitely need a new person. And like I said, you don't have to be an expert in any of this. If it's interesting to you and you just want this group to keep considering it, so definitely, is someone interested in acting as that person that goes, Sarah, we need a recycling on the agenda? If nothing else, just that.
I'm willing to do that.
Okay.
I mean, now, I'm no expert, I'm learning.
That's okay.
But I mean, a few people here
Few
are,
people
but
are.
I'm sure not.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
Well, I'll
sure.
do the landscaper certification.
Okay.
I'd be interested in doing some of the outreach online, like Facebook. The only question I have is, if we're representing the city, do we need city approval?
No,
to do
I
that?
thought, when I brought that up, I was just saying, you know, if you're in this meeting and you hear that the drainage criteria manual is going to city council, just go home and just do a one-line, the
So we
city's
can all do
drainage
that.
criteria
Kinda like-
manual is going to the
Yeah, I
council.
mean, the mayor will have that on his Facebook.
And here's a link. I guess the point is to get the volume, because if you miss the mayor's post, but it's on there 6 other
But
times.
the mayor doesn't post individual agenda items.
No, he doesn't,
No,
that's
so
true.
that's what, if there's something related to environmental systems that is on the agenda for city council, we can definitely,
get that
you
out.
don't, and you can do it in such a way that you endorse this, or it can be much more about, hey, streamside protection ordinance on the agenda for, January 18th.
Information on it.
Yeah.
Just a way to get the word out.
And, or you can say public public review period open for drainage criteria manual. And then they can contact you, who can contact our sustainability coordinator person, and and then get them connected. You can be a connector for the community. And one thing that I want to keep reminding all of us is we are an advisory council to the council. We are an advisory committee to the council, first and foremost, and we can advise the council through the community, and we can advise the council directly. And so we're going to think about that as if we're educating and doing outreach, the council members, including me, can be in that scope and should be in that scope.
Well, Facebook, I don't know how many of us are friends on here. I know 3 or 4 maybe, for sure. But, you know, I post the whole city council agenda on some of my sites, on blogs.
On Facebook?
And places like, well, not on Facebook, but where you get the link to it from another site.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus, I list most of the meetings.
Yeah.
You know, environmental interest.
You could just link to Aubrey's website.
Yeah.
All kinds of
But what I'm
stuff.
saying,
Will you be my friend?
if we're all friends on Facebook, then if one of us posts something, it'll be available to the friends you contact.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And
You can share
you don't have to
You can
be a
share,
friend
yeah.
of theirs for them to see what you're receiving. and sort of thing.
Right.
So that's the way Facebook.
Yeah, that's a good
works.
idea. Do that, Cindy.
Good
Okay,
idea.
so Cindy, you're gonna help us with outreach.
Yes.
And just kind of help us keep that moving forward. We also have local food. Would you like to keep us rolling on that? Specifically the local food resolution and getting that with food. Yeah, Dana. As far as recycling, are you interested in helping also with recycling, especially since you have
I need all that.
connections
I mean,
with Lori's,
help I get.
with the building community, like that recycling topic? I think that's really, it's landscaping, sort of, habitat recognition, and I'm doing the review of the documents.
What about energy code? Did somebody take that?
That's
You did?
Meredith.
Okay, all right.
Got that. We need to give Richard a job.
You think so? Really?
Well, yeah.
What's left?
Which one? Let's give him.
Well, Richard said he was interested in the
could help out
stormwater.
with
Oh,
stormwater.
yeah, he wasn't
Yeah.
using that. Okay,
So-
good call, good call.
That
Okay,
used to be his thing too.
yeah, good idea. Okay. It's gonna be a good year.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
11 meetings left, so, right?
Yeah.
One down, 11 to go.
Boy, we better get to work. Which one of these would you like for the February meeting? Actually,
How about a learning one?
yeah.
Yeah.
Learn? You wanna learn?
I want to learn more about food policy.
The food laws? Well, we could do that and have Susan talk about where we are, because that's
Yeah, I
get
really
her,
would like
get
to
moving on
hear
that,
all of
endorsing
about
that. Okay.
You might actually ask Denise Garner or
Oh,
yeah, to come
Fayetteville.
from
Yep.
Fayetteville. I can do that. I'll be happy.
You know, folks?
I'll be happy to.
You can
call
Okay, so I'm gonna put both of you on the food
Yeah,
stuff.
we work together on lots of
Okay.
stuff.
Dan, you know who else has been involved in the local food stuff?
All right.
Okay, and you want Denise to come to the meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
And
We
Susan.
also have,
So we need Susan Durier.
Oh, I thought Susan was on this committee.
Well, she's not anymore.
Oh, okay, I missed that, okay.
And, but we
Her
wanna
term
stay in
ended,
touch with
and I
her.
think Lori or Dana won.
Yeah,
filled
that's
that
why we get to
spot.
have these folks.
And our next meeting is February the 9th. Okay.
And I do try to keep us as close to an hour as possible, because I want you to keep coming back. If meetings go on and on, people don't want to come back. So I think we have a good plan. I think we have good ideas, and I said that in my little email. This group continuously inspires me because you have good ideas, and we, you know, you all have lives outside of this. But if we can make baby steps along the way and help each other get some progress here. So let's start with that and get potentially a resolution supporting that local food project, and then maybe March learn about or move on to something else.
Well, that won't take our whole meeting, right? So is there?
Oh yeah, we could do
like a little. Could we stormwater utilities? Like a huge thing and a long
That's
project.
a big project.
Is there someplace we could start?
But there's also already the energy code is in motion.
Why don't I present, I'll just do a little bit of research and talk about Arkansas, or like federal energy codes,
That
what
would
the
be good.
state
Oh, that
has
would be
adopted
great.
and what the
Yes,
city
yes,
does right
I would
now.
like, yeah, I know.
And
that.
kind of where
That would be
we
great.
might
That would
go
help
with
us
it.
to know.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay,
can do that.
so we'll do food and energy,
Food and energy.
which are
that's-
kind of the same.
Well, you gotta have both of them.
You gotta have
If you do one the right way.
That's it. Which means we're all ready to go eat something right now. Well,
Can I have prizes?
Terry has a prize.
I forgot.
I got
No,
a quick
I'm ready.
announcement too.
Okay, we're not ready to go yet, but yeah, go ahead and.
Yeah, go ahead, you go ahead.
Okay, so we had the Habitat Challenge ongoing to see if our committee members could certify their own homes and also get other homes certified. And we have gotten a long way thanks to that effort. So first of all, if you have your own home certified, raise your hand, please. And you get a round of applause. Thank you, thank you. And third place with Habitat certifications was Richard, who's walked out of the room, and he got us 4 new certifications. So he gets a Finch sock. And he's and
nice.
in second place with, and this is working through his staff.
Oh, no way, I can't get credit
And
for
it's a
that.
parting gift also.
Oh. I
John
haven't
gets
done
a
any of it.
Squirtle
Dan's actually-
chair and
I don't want to, I mean, I'm a fraud, I'm being exposed here. Dan and Christina have actually done the work. If
But
you
it
weren't
was
here,
your
I would-
idea to take this certification.
If you weren't here, I
and
would
have
just
your
take
stuff.
full responsibility.
5 so far and 5 more on the way.
Thanks.
That's good. And we need a big drum roll because in first place with 34 certifications is Miss Connie Chris. She gets a tea, a t-shirt.
I want one of those.
34 requests. I have sent
You
out.
are responsible.
Oh,
for-
yes.
She's getting us
Well,
there.
I mean, again, it just, you know, well, I'm proud of Fayetteville School District because
I am too.
just sent that out and people were excited about it.
responded. My
And I haven't
goodness.
even gotten my book club involved yet.
I mean, we need about 15
All
more.
right. Well, I was taking them for last after I made sure that, oh, good.
Thanks, y'all.
Thanks for doing the
Awesome.
challenge.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Thanks for doing the challenge. That's such a good idea.
You just want to give Richard a
How
spin
close
shot.
are we?
About 15 more.
15 more.
Well, we can do 15.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll send out
That's a
another
lot in a
email on
couple
that
months.
one,
Hey,
yeah.
if you were contacting one of the council members to get their house certified, do that again. Tell them we only need 15, and it's their fault. We're not there yet.
And I will say this, of the
I think some of them have that.
of the 50 prepaid certification forms that Fayetteville Natural Heritage Association funded, we are out of the 50. So that's
So
that's awesome. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
think they're going to re-up.
Okay.
Oh, they are? Okay, so people can still get the
Yes,
funding.
as
Okay,
of right now, I don't have those in my hands.
Okay.
But I'm
Did you
working
get a couple of them that I forwarded to you that
Yes.
they sent to me and I didn't know what to do, so I just
Yes.
sent it on to you?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's fun.
Wow.
All right, and then we have a card for John.
Yay!
Yay.
Hey, you can
I need
still
to
come
leave.
for me.
I'm going to give you a standing ovation for all
Yes.
of you. What?
It's a great job.
Yeah, now.
Oh,
see?
you can be on
Committee
the
member.
Oh, look, he's so excited.
I told Sarah that,
Yes.
that I'm going, as soon as I get settled, I am going to plug back in because I really do enjoy the community
Well, now
work
you can
and
be a thorn in the side,
involvement.
too.
That's right. That's what I told my Jordan.
That's right, watch out.
It has been a lot of fun. And this is a really great group. Like I said, it's interesting to see how it's evolved and the momentum that continues, even though in 2011 I noticed we've had a really big turnover in the group itself, and we still just
keeps
continue
going.
on, so
Yeah.
that's great.
Good, so thank you to all of you, and
You're
thank
part
you,
of-
John.
Yeah, you're part of
you
Fayetteville
kept that.
history.
That's
Okay,
right.
our
Absolutely.
sustainability coordinator.
Those
All
out.
right.
The
All right,
American
so this
Bloom
is-
Symposium
any
will be
final
here.
announcements? Cindy has one.
The American Bloom Symposium will be here in Fayetteville in September, and part of the criteria is environmental efforts.
Got it on the calendar.
And Sarah will be speaking.
Yeah, thanks.
Did you know that, Sarah?
Yes. Thank you for asking.
Emailing.
Yeah, I told her I've never been invited, so, but that's such a good organization, like, she invited us months ago.
I know, she's been
So
on.
that's really impressive, so thank you for being on the ball and getting us our calendar set.
It's wonderful.
Well, this is going to be like an $80,000 economic development for the city. So this is good. This is really good.
Very good. So thanks for championing it. It's really important. Well, with that, I think we'll round things out.
Fast.
Okay,
I just
sorry.
remembered something. The upcoming 2012 Arkansas Master Naturalist training
I saw, okay.
is coming up, and I sent out an email, but I didn't have the whole EAC's
I'll
details.
forward
But
that.
okay, it's a 40-hour total
Oh,
training
I saw that,
on
yeah.
Saturdays.
Oh, cool.
I did it last year. It's so neat. It's a great group of people, and they cover all different topics. And you become a certified Arkansas Master Naturalist, and then you kind of do some outreach and volunteer work. But if anybody's interested, email me and all, because you have to register
It's coming up.
pretty soon.
Mhm.
Yep.
Thank you for
You
sending
know,
that out.
we could have a short version of that presentation. You just did a good one, but.
Like that short take right there.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
that could be a 5-minute on that.
Mhm.
We did have a master naturalist representative at the Garden Nature Society.
You know what we could
2
do?
months ago.
You know what we could do in this, I mean, like, cause, you know, you go to a meeting, you're like, all good ideas. But what we could do for like, at the end of each meeting is get on our little phones and tweet and Facebook
That's
any
fun.
topics that came out of this meeting.
A host meeting Facebook session.
Yeah, host meeting social marketing
Yes,
session
that's
or
it.
EAC topics.
Good.
And then it's not something you have to think about again doing later. It's like, we'll do it all together right here. Go.
I like that
I
idea.
don't have an internet on my phone.
It's okay.
I'll send out a text.
Well,
Before
see,
you
we
ask,
can like, yeah, we can
Text.
follow each
Texts
other
are
and
great.
connect, and then you can
I'll do
share.
it whenever I get home.
There you go.
This is not what I do for a living, so.
Yeah, I know, you're an expert at this.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, everybody. I'm looking forward to this year, and thanks for all your hard work, and not just here, but in the community, so. Have a good night. Thank you.